I would like to feel empowered, more empowered, on the subject of having my own guidance system.
It's what empowerment is, isn't it? Empowerment is awareness of guidance system in this moment.
I feel somebody else's guidance system all day, every day, and it's driving me crazy, and I don't know how to feel better.
In other words, someone else is setting the tone, or what do you mean?
I am empathic to one other person, and I feel his guidance system, and sometimes it overrides mine. Well, mostly it overrides mine.
We can see what you're getting at, and we can see how that could happen. But knowing what you now know, you see, you can't be empathic to something that you're not focused upon.
Okay.
So, and you believe something that isn't true. You believe that it's an unconscious focusing. That, in other words, it feels to you like the thoughts are thinking you.
It's conscious, because I feel it all day, every day. So I just focus, give it more thought. And I know I need to change my story, and I do, and I feel better, but then there's something negative on the other side, and I'm positive here. This is the biggest challenge. I have been listening to Abraham for 11 years now, and I thought, I got it. I got the money. I got everything that I want, and this is like the biggest challenge.
So let's break this down.
Okay.
So what exactly are you saying?
I'm saying I want to be me.
We get that, but what are you saying is happening instead? Someone else's thoughts are being received by your mind.
Yes. Feelings.
And
guidance system.
And overriding yours.
Yes.
Well, you see, that, first of all, that's not even a possible thing.
No.
Because it's what you think about that's causing your feelings.
Okay.
We promise you're not having emotions in response to someone else's thoughts. But there is power of influence. In other words, if something is going on around you and you are witnessing it and your attention to it is causing you some emotional response, that's just the way your guidance system works. Do you accept that the emotions that you feel are the relationship between your focused thought in this moment with your personality, you in this body, and how your inner being feels about the same thing?
Yes.
So what is the most dominant thought that is happening, that is causing you distress?
My most dominant thought is a struggle.
Which means it comes up often. Not necessarily that it's loud when it gets there, but that it comes up often. So it's dominant, it's active. What's the most active thought that you have that you'd like to resolve?
I want my own guidance system 100%.
But you see, you couldn't feel anything if you didn't have a guidance system. That's the flawed premise that you're beginning with. If it were not for your active guidance system, we would not even be having this conversation. You just have to understand what your guidance is telling you. And what your guidance is telling you is, as you feel distress about this other thinker and the empathy that you're feeling about it, that distress is you're focused upon something and you've come to a conclusion that your inner being does not agree with.
Okay.
So what you're saying is not the point of view that your inner being has.
But I can get really, really, really happy, and somebody else could get me really, really, really miserable, and I feel both. And sometimes the misery comes and I can't be happy at all.
Well, what this is about for you is, because most people who are living something far less extreme than you are sloppy thinkers. And Esther would say of herself, before her husband Jerry made his transition into non-physical, that prior to that she was a sloppy thinker, because she didn't have to think on purpose to feel good. She could just observe what was living happily ever after life and feel good. It wasn't until something happened that seemed compelling to think about, that was very painful to think about, that she actually gained control of her own thought, you see. And so this is sort of the same thing. You just, if someone else, anyone else, if mass consciousness, if a movement, that's what belief systems are. There are things that you believe as an individual that your society has taught you that don't serve you. But you are sloppy thinkers in that you just accept it. It doesn't feel good when you think it, but you just accept it as something that you have to think because it's reality. And what we're saying to you is, you are not the observers and therefore the feelers of reality. You are the creators of reality. So once you say, this is intolerable, I refuse to feel this way, I'm going to direct my thoughts more specifically, and you get up and do it, and get up and do it, and get up and do it, and get up and do it. Esther had the most amazing experience just a short time ago, because she's been listening to us talking about this high-flying disc, and she was determined that she was going to get on it and stay on it as long as she could every day. And every day it got better. Every day she got on and stayed on longer. Every day the momentum of it got more. She felt better and better and better and better and better. And then one morning she awakened after a really particularly good day the day before. She went to bed laughing, feeling so good about something really funny that had happened. And she had thought about it so much during that day that as she went to bed that night, she was feeling her utter well-being, sort of proclaiming it to the universe. I feel so good, and it feels so good to feel good. And nothing like feeling good after you haven't felt good, because it's like eating after you've been hungry. It really feels good to feel good after you haven't felt good, and she was feeling so good. And when she awakened in the morning, expecting completely to be on her high-flying disc, almost as soon as she regained consciousness, she found herself focused upon something that was extremely painful and troubling to her, that she didn't want to focus on. And as she realized her thought was there, she said, wait a minute, I only have 17 seconds. I'm on my high-flying disc. Oh, no, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Been there, done that, not going there. Been there, done that, not going there. And she maintained her balance and then reveled in the fact that she had maintained her balance on this high-flying disc. It didn't take her away. It was about day 24 or 25 or 26 into the process. So then she wants to talk to us about it. What was that, Abraham? You said, if I wake up on my high-flying disc, I only have access to stuff that's on the high-flying disc. That was not. And we also said that it's a good idea to lay new pipes from the high-flying disc. It's a good idea. Once you're substantially there, you can contemplate any subject that has formerly been troubling and leave it in a different vibrational place. Affirm and mean it, you see. So that's what it's all about. You understand all of this. You know this. You know how you want to feel. It's just a matter of letting go of some of those flawed premises. Your flawed premise is, I have such empathy that someone else's thoughts and feelings dominate my own. And we say, only because you believe that and are allowing that and have opened these wide pipelines to it. So it's like, how am I going to feel today? I need to call this person and find out. No, I don't really need to call them. They're transmitting it, and I'm hardwired to them, and I'm going to feel it. And we say, that's the last thing that we would ever say again. We might say, that used to happen to me, or that happened to me before, but now I am the creator of my own reality, and I am hardwired to the frequency of my inner being. And feeling good is who I am. That's what's natural to me. And it is my powerful intention to practice that so steadily, so chronically, so solidly that that's who I am. In fact, I would like everyone I know to have to be empathetic to my high-flying emotions. I'm going to do such a good job of practicing it and being there and feeling it that I'm just radiating it, I'm oozing it, and anybody that comes into my vicinity is just going to feel it. I'm going to be known as the good-feeling girl, because everywhere I go, people around me, if they've come into my vibrational vicinity, my vibration's dominating, my vibration's dominating, my vibration's dominating. Me and my inner being, me and my source. Oh, the energy that creates worlds is what's flowing through me. I am a powerful, invincible, creative being with pure positive energy flowing through me. I'm flying high because I choose to.
Yes. Thank you. I can do this. I can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You do it all. You do it all the time. You don't do it all the time. You do it a lot of the time. But you do it enough of the time that it'll be easy for you to do it more of the time. And you'll never do it all of the time because you want to have some step one moments. But you've been through, you see, step one, step two, step three. Step one, you had that phase of your life. When you first were born, you were born on the high-flying disc. You don't remember that because those around you were already not mostly on the high-flying disc. And you worried them because you were on the high-flying disc all the time. You were just too happy for your own good. And so they started pointing out to you incrementally all of the reasons that you shouldn't just be happy all the time. They said to you things like world doesn't revolve around you and life isn't supposed to be fun all the time. Little did they know that none of that is true. And then you got into the phase that we will call the step one phase of your life, where the contrast that you were sorting through those early years caused you to put a whole lot into your vortex. Well, this was a really wonderful thing. In fact, it was your plan. You said, I'll go forth and I'll sift and sort and I'll sort of settle in and I'll figure out who I am and I'll define my preferences and I'll launch all these rockets and I'll pay attention to my guidance system. And step two took care of itself all along the way, because all through it you knew what you didn't want, you knew what you did want. You've been building this vortex. It's spinning. The cooperative components have all been gathered. And now, friends, it's time for the step three phase of your life. Not only step three, but predominantly step three. Predominantly step three. It's time for you to get on that high-flying disc and feel good and occasionally dip and clarify something. That's a wonderful thing. Don't you love to have an experience with someone that maybe doesn't feel good while you're having it, but it sure makes you clear about what you want? And isn't the clarity really worth having? Don't you love that decisiveness that is within you? Well, that decisiveness that is within you is alignment. It's alignment with what's in your vortex. So when you're having a moment with someone and it feels like negative emotion to you, don't beat up on yourself as if you've done something wrong. Instead, applaud your guidance that lets you know that whether it was the action or behavior of another, or whether it was your response to it or your perception of it, in any case, you're laying some pipes that are leading to where you don't want to go, and that negative emotion is letting you know that. So withdraw your attention from that and give your attention to what you want. And if it keeps happening and keeps happening and keeps happening, you're going to come to some very strong decisions. And it is our promise to you that when you feel that decisiveness within you, that you'll know that you're on a high-flying disc, because the only thing that causes you to ever not feel good is your own split energy. It's not somebody else doing something that you don't want them to do. It's not somebody else's emotion about something. It's not about that political party or that one or that religion or that one. It's not about anything except your own split energy. So why would you let the behavior of others, the belief of others, the reality of others, why would you let that kind of stuff be the reason for you splitting your energy? Just because you haven't practiced feeling good long enough to become so aware that that's what you want, that you are now intolerant of doing that, but you're in control of your own experience, you see. And once you get this, and then you stop asking, you know, you need to be different, because if you would be a little different, then I would feel a little better. Oh, how awful that is, because you know they can't be different just because you need them to be different. They've got their own momentum going on. It's not fair of you to ask anybody to be different than they're being in any moment, because first of all, they can't be. If they're not feeling good, we promise you they'd be being different if they knew how to be different. They don't know how to be different. They don't want to feel bad. And so then when you compound it by feeling bad about them feeling bad, and now you feel bad about them feeling bad, you're just all laying pipes that are taking you to places that you don't want to go. So stop it. And instead, take control of your own experience and do it early on in the day until you get the hang of it, and then you begin to feel this. The other day, Esther went down to Mission Bay. She stopped and got a burger and took it to Mission Bay to eat it, and she was really flying high and really feeling good, and she was watching the other people. Some of them were roller skating, and some of them were running, and some of them were picnicking, and some of them were boating. There were a lot of people that she could see as she was sitting in her car enjoying her lunch, and as she is looking out, she's feeling so good, and she said right out loud, talking to us, I really don't think that any of them feel as good as I feel. And while it was a sort of a judgmental, which is just an observational thing, she was right. In other words, Esther had gotten on her high-flying disc, and then she had felt the inspiration to go get something to eat and to go to a particular place to eat it. She went there because of all the places that she could think of to be at that moment in time. This was the place that called her the most. It was easy access. It was beautiful to see. It made her feel good. It was laden with wonderful memories for her. And so she went there with the express purpose of feeling good for this 30 minutes that she was going to sit there and enjoy her lunch. She was right. She did it on purpose. She got on her high-flying disc, and then she followed her inspiration, and there was no one anywhere around that was anywhere near as happy as she was, because they had all gone there to get happy. They weren't happy and then were inspired to go there. Can you feel the difference? When you are happy and then you are inspired, then what happens feels so much more. There's a synergy about it. It's an exponential thing that happens. You hook up with so much more when you get on that high-flying place, and then you follow through with the inspired action. Oh, you're so going to like this as you get into your 20th and 30th and 40th and 50th and 60th day of this.